Alright, we're going to try to replace the firebox in this WB-3 boiler. First step out of frame is shutting the power off. Step 2, this one doesn't have a swing door, so I'm going to have to remove this plate to get access. I'm turning off the gas here. Gas line off over at the tank side too. Remove the whole stud. Now, I'm not gonna disconnect this wire from the burner. I think I can just swing it off to the side here and leave it connected. Alright, might be kind of hot, so. See why we're replacing this. I'm going to cover that with a plastic bag so no shit. Now I'm just going to use an old putty knife and scrape off as much of the old firebox material as possible, and also scrape off the old rope that secures the door to the boiler. Alright, now I'm going to vacuum up what I can. Alright, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to spray down the surfaces with some degreaser, use some steel wool on the matting surface where the new rope is going to go to secure the door to the boiler, and then just wiping down the inside to get rid of some of the soot as best I can. Alright, what I'm doing here is I'm placing in the new target wall in the back of the boiler. Mine was a little bit of a tight fit to get it into place, but it eventually went. Had to use a little bit of force to get it in there. But once it went, it sat in there tight. It came with shims in the kit in case it wasn't tight when you put it in the back, but I didn't end up having to use those shims in this particular situation because mine was tight. This particular Firebox kit I ordered is designed to fit a range of different boilers, and based on the boiler you have to cut the blanket that goes on the bottom to size. The instructions give you the size to cut it to based on the boiler. Mine's WB-3, so the blanket size is supposed to be 14 inches by 3 inches, so I just marked it here with Sharpie. I ended up going a little bit more than 3 inches, just over, probably quarter of an inch over 3 inches, and then I didn't cut it to 14. I just used the full length of the blanket here, and that worked out perfect for this boiler. So as you can see, it was probably about maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches longer than 14 inches I ended up doing, and just over 3 inches. I used tin snips to cut this wool blanket, and they worked perfectly for that. Okay, so now I'm just dumping out the water glass that came with this kit on the bottom where the piece of wool is going to lay on top of. I ended up applying some of this water glass on the sides just so that they'd be extra secure to the metal in the boiler here and wouldn't fall in. Now I'm gonna install the insulation that goes on the door to the boiler. This piece was a tight fit, and I thought at first I might have to trim it when I was seeing how it fit, but I ended up just kind of lightly tapping in here with my fist, and it seemed to fit nice. Okay, here I am installing the screws, washers, and bolts that hold this insulation on the door. I ended up just tapping the screws lightly through this insulation material, and that worked fine. You could drill them out, and that would probably be even better because mine frayed a little bit, but it was fine. Not tighten these up too tight, just figure them out. That fit in there pretty tight anyways. I don't even know if these are necessary. Now I'm going to install this new rope that came with the kit that secures the door to the boiler faceplate here. This rope was kind of tricky to get the sticky stuff off of, and once you get the sticky off of it, it's hard to see where the sticky side is, but just go slow. Only peel off a couple inches at a time and then stick down the rope. That's the trick that I found worked the best. Okay, I'm just snugging up the bolts here, making sure they're all snugged up. After this, I reconnected the fuel line, turned the fuel lines back on, and then bled the air out of the fuel and fired up the boiler and let it fire for like 15 minutes per the instructions to allow the chamber to cure, and then turned it back on in a couple hours. If you have any questions, just post them below and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Thanks for watching.